What's up everybody, it's the Spaniard on the moon once again, reaching out to you using this interplanetary communication device that is the internet. Now let me tell you, I was excited for that 13th remake. So excited that I made a video telling you how excited I was, which by the way has been amazing to see the support and discussion that you guys have shown to the video so far. So once again, thank you, I really appreciate all of you. Now going back to the 13th remake though, there are times in life in which, expectations get too high. We maybe get on the hype train and then it turns out that it runs off a cliff. I would love to tell you right now this is one of those times, but that simply isn't true. I did not expect this game to be a game changer or a wild display of innovation or anything like that, but rather a more refined version of the classic that I fell for 17 years ago. Turns out that what we got feels more like somebody putting a broken PS3 inside a PS5 box and telling you happy birthday. But with that out of the way, let's get started on the 13th Remake review and how some things should be just left untouched. If you liked the video, hit the like button as always and subscribe if you want to stay up to date on all the new content in the channel. Caveat before starting this review right from the get-go is that I have not completed the game, but I do think that the few hours that I have spent with it are going to be more than enough to give you my reasoning behind why I stopped playing. If the game gets patched down the line, I'll definitely try to return to it, but as of today, here's where we stand, and I'm going to start with the graphics. The 13 Classic is one of the first cel-shaded first-person shooters ever made, if not the first. That comic book art style has created amazing titles and franchises like you guys know, for example, Borderlands. Now, the 13th Remake could have followed this exact same formula in terms of the art style that it displays. And where it's true that it does take influences from the classic game, it definitely adds its own touch. In this newer version, it is clear that the developers have moved away from that comic book art style to something that resembles maybe a combination of Life is Strange and Fortnite, for example. Now, if you're a fan of the original title and the look and feel, this is probably not going to sit very well with you. I had to ask myself if this change was a result of us living in the modern era of gaming, quote unquote, in terms of graphics. But then I thought about two prime examples of modern titles that are closer to the look and feel of the 13 Classic than this remake. And the first two that came to mind were Wolf Among Us and Borderlands, of course. So clearly aiming for that comic book style does not mean any low quality in the terms of graphics, yet the developers decided to take a different route with this, which feels even more strange considering the intro cinematic of the remake is the same one as the original game, literally taking you down memory lane and preparing you for the slap in the face that you're about to get. When you take a look at the environments, you can see that this is intended to be an enhanced version of the original in terms of, graphic quality and of course textures, but also following this change in the art style that they implemented into the game. Some of the characters have been completely redesigned, whereas others have just been enhanced for this version. Looking at it from a technical perspective, the animations in this game are horrible where they show up, but in most cases, they're completely non-existent. The original title is 17 years old and it still has better animations in some areas than the remake. This cutscene in the first level is a perfect example of that. Speaking of cutscenes, there is a lot of screen tearing during transitions, and we can also experience frame drops in action sequences. By the way, enemies in this game, they don't just die. Once they receive the appropriate amount of bullets, their bodies may end up teleporting to the ground and start having a seizure. And if they don't teleport, their demise is going to be depicted in the slowest 3 frames you've ever seen. And they're not the only ones who struggle on the animation side. In the classic game, when you die, the game simulates that you have fallen to your death using the first-person camera. Now in the remake, this is out the door. The frame just freezes, and everything goes black and white, and the game tells you you're dead. Now to me this can be one of two things. Either an immense lack of care or a massive reduction in scope for what the modernization of this game should have actually been. But with that being said, let's move on to sound. So since we're at it, let's start with the good part. The music in this game is excellent when it plays, because sometimes it just doesn't play. Brighton Beach, which is the name of the first level and also the name of the theme song of this level, is one of the best pieces I've listened to in a video game. The rest of the music is also pretty good as well, following the same songs we get to experience in the classic. But the issue once again comes from a technical standpoint. There is a lot of sound popping in the game. Enemies 10 miles away sound like they're inside your ear screaming with a megaphone in hand. And the audio sometimes completely cuts off, also including the music. This completely ruins any sort of immersive experience and focus that you may have on the game itself, because it completely throws you off in the most unexpected places. Now, with all of that being said, let's chat a bit about what to expect in terms of gameplay. See, here's the thing. In terms of gameplay, the classic was not the most amazing thing in the world if we were to compare it to today's standards of what fluid gameplay should be. But the game is also about 2 decades old. Now, the remake does not try to distance itself too much from the original in terms of gameplay, and I think that is actually very good. But there could have been improvements made to the gameplay to bring it closer to a current standard, which is my opinion the goal of any remake out there. Once again, we're about to get hit with some technical issues. There seems to be some massive input lag in certain areas of the game, especially when you're trying to take out enemies using stealth, which I noticed a lot in the second level of the game in the bank. The most unforgivable one by far is the fact that the AI is completely brain dead in some areas. Take this example I'm about to show you. 3 dudes right next to each other, me taking my time headshotting each of them from not too far away. And yet none of these damn bastards noticed that I had blown up their friends' brains out of existence. I know I could keep going on and on and on all day about this, but let's wrap this up with some final thoughts. Needless to say, this remake was an utter disappointment in every single level. And I really wish I could say something different than this, but I just can't. I can't pretend that this whole thing isn't plagued with issues top to bottom. At the current state and price point, you should definitely stay away from this game. I also want to say that not all hope is lost with this. Common sense would tell us that we should be seeing patches in the future addressing at the very least all of those technical issues that I mentioned here. The thing is that at the end of the day, the issues here lie beyond just technical performance. But if those patches make their way to us, I will definitely try to get back into the game. And should any of my thoughts about the game change, I will make an update video on those for sure. In the meantime, if you truly want to experience 13 and you're willing to put up with an outdated title, I would absolutely recommend that you go grab it on Steam for $6 and have a blast with it. At least that's what I'm planning on doing. Anyways guys, that's gonna be it from me today. I know this one was a little bit shorter than the previous reviews, but I hope you understand my reasoning behind that. If you like this video, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe if you want to see more content like this in the future. Also, if you played the remake or the original, let me know your thoughts below in the comment section. As always, take care of yourselves and take care of each other. I'll see you next time.